Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to show you the Gurren Lagann commission that I did for my buddy Tony. At the time of me recording this, I haven't given it to him yet, so hopefully he likes it. I, for one, am very happy with the way it turned out. So without further ado, let's take a closer look. Alright guys, so this is about 18 by 25 inches, and I'm particularly happy with the way it turned out. It's based on the anime Gurren Lagann, which I've seen a little bit of, not terribly familiar with it, but Tony sent me some reference images and a lot of creative liberty, so I just kind of ran with that and experimented with a couple different things, well, with actually quite a few different things, which I'll go into more detail with. First off, I'm particularly proud of the fact that I did not do any tracing on this piece, which is kind of a crutch that I fell into for a long time, especially with my portraits, and I figured, you know what, I felt confident enough, especially with this, to freehand all of it, which I did, starting off with a pencil sketch and then inking it over after that. The pencil sketch took a couple sittings, and then the ink took about one. By sitting, I mean a couple of hours here and there. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly how much time I put into it, but it was a good bit. Anyways, after we got the ink laid in there, I started adding markers. Of course, the good old Prismacolors you can kind of see throughout there. I used a lot of blue Prismacolor markers and Prismacolor pencils as well, blending that in, like the way the reds are turning out there and the yellows around the edge. So that was cool. That was all fine and dandy. Everything was smooth sailing. I was liking the way it was looking. And then I was getting up to these drill sections here on the four corners that you can see in gold. And I thought it would be cool to try and do some blending with, there again, the Prismacolor markers. I wanted to try and blend them with like some oranges and some yellows and try to create kind of a metallic sheen and, try and make it look kind of gold-ish. But that, whatever I did, it did not work. So I was like, oh no, I ruined the thing. It was definitely a happy accident type moment, only I wasn't too happy about it at the time. So I was like, okay, how do I do this? And I wanted to cover it up somehow because there wasn't any way I could possibly erase it. And I didn't want to start over because it was already looking pretty good in the body at that point. I hadn't touched the background yet at that point, but I was thinking about gold leaf. I was looking around at a couple different stores for that and ultimately decided to not get it, as you probably saw in maybe in that art haul video that I was on a quest for the gold leaf. As it was, I didn't really want to get all the fancy glues and cures and stuff to do that, but I had some acrylic paint laying around and I figured, you know what, we'll just try that. And I think ultimately it was a better decision. I still want to try and use gold leaf in the future for future projects, and I will, but I think this ultimately had more control and it gave me the results I needed, which was just to cover up my happy mistakes that you can't see. And I think it looks a lot cooler. It pops, definitely stands out from the rest of it, so I'm really happy with that. It did take several coats, I don't know, like 3-4 coats to cover it up, and luckily I didn't try to do any shading with the markers in the other 4 quadrants, so it looks pretty cohesive there. And other than that, that was pretty much the only spot that I used acrylic paint. There was a couple areas that I messed up, so I kind of fixed it with some white acrylic here and here. I had the red and the white reversed. Originally, I was like, I'll just leave it. But then I got to thinking and looking at it longer. I was like, no, I need to fix it, and it looks a lot better with the red and the white in the proper spot. So yeah, I was using markers and colored pencils predominantly. In some areas here, I even bust out that fancy little pen that you may have seen in my art haul video, and this works exactly the way I envisioned, and it was pretty awesome. Basically, what you do is you pop the cap off, it's kind of got a light bluish liquid on there, and you put that on the areas that you want to preserve your whites or whatever color you want that's underneath it. So I popped it in these little rivets here, so in those little dots, and then I went over it in the blue marker, and once that kind of dried off, you could wipe it off, and it's kind of a waxy type finish. You just rubbed right off. I didn't have to use the eraser, and those whites were fairly well preserved. So that was a lot easier than having to paint around those circles. I mean, I kind of missed a couple here and there, as you can see, but overall, I was really blown away with it. It worked exactly the way I wanted it, and I think I used it kind of up in these areas as well. I did try to kind of blend this over a little bit better with the colored pencils, but you can still kind of see the streaks of the marker in this area. In other areas, it was kind of hidden a little bit better, but overall, I am really happy the way the body of it looks. Now, jumping back to the background, I did do that last, and I really like the way the background looks. At this point, I hadn't used any oil pastels in it, so I was kind of hitting this piece with everything that I felt confident with, and I want to roll it all in together. Take some risks with the gold leaf, but that didn't pan out. I was thinking about using some blacklight paints, and I was experimenting with that for a couple of days off this piece, just doing some side stuff. Ultimately, that wasn't going to work. I thought about putting it on him, but then the way it works, it was going to make him look more in the background, I think, and then that would kind of throw off the perspective. So I was like, okay, maybe blacklight paint in the background to make the perspective work better. But I don't know. The paints that I got were not suited for this purpose, so we're tabling that idea for now too. Ultimately, I'm glad, because it would have really messed us up. And I'm glad that I went back to my roots with the pastel and put that in the background, because I really love the contrast, kind of the organic, flowy, smoothie, ooey gooey, whatever you want to call it, contrast compared to the effect that you get of the robot guy himself. So yeah, all in all, I am just very, very happy with the way this piece turned out. I had so much fun trying different things and mixing all the main medias that I've worked with together. And even though I'm not really a Gurren Lagann fan, I had so much fun working on this piece, and I'm very, very happy with the end result. Definitely had a lot of hiccups along the way. That's kind of why it took so long, but I don't know, it just had so many different layers, because I kept going back and forth between markers and colored pencils, just layers on layers and paints and stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's just the paper, but it feels like a piece of art. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's just got some texture and weight to it, and I just love it. So yeah, by the time I upload this, Tony will have had it, and hopefully he likes it half as much as I did. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.